One of the biggest difficulties that I think I have is that I've had to go to school decades after my parents, and I've had to fight the same fights of certain types of racism in the schools that they had to fight decades ago. My name is Pastor James Watkins of the New Hope Baptist Church. Let's talk. I grew up in the north side. Me and my brothers all graduated from Rogers High School, all in the 80s, the beginning to the end of the 80s, and all of us were pretty standout athletes. We attended Grand Elementary. When I was in fourth grade, due to my grandmother's health, I had to move up north and move to Whitman Elementary, where I was one of maybe I went from I don't want to say largely populated, but probably the most largely populated black elementary in Spokane to being one of maybe 4 black kids in school. My very first day of school, I got called the N-word, and a buddy of mine who had grew up there and went to K through 3rd there act like it was normal behavior. Probably the most special moments of one of my friends was at one of the guys I played football with, played basketball with, all these different things, told me I couldn't come to his house because his dad didn't like black people. And so when he had a birthday party, everybody got invited except me. And so one of my closest friends still to this day decided, and his father decided, if I wasn't welcome, then either was he. And so it made the experience bearable, but no less, not very, very less painful. When I was at North Idaho in the early 90s, we had the Aryan Nation compound 10 miles before, or less than 10 miles from where I went to school. We had the whole Ruby Ridge incident, which drew like-thinking people all across the nation who flooded North Idaho. It was somewhat of a dangerous time, and so at that time, intolerance was real high. There was a lot of different issues, and it was very difficult. I think that a lot of the things that I saw in Spokane, and even the racism, was pretty subtle. When I went there, it was more overt, and it was there were some times that people don't believe it, but there were times I know my mom didn't want me out there. She feared for my safety. We had our posters vandalized with obviously name calling and people putting nooses, that kind of stuff, and I think the school response was very proactive and positive. The community's response wasn't at the time. But when you're the only black kid in class, or you're the only black representative where you work, or whatever you're a part of, it's difficult because whatever their opinions are sometimes are derived from their interactions from you. My younger son, was talking to me, and he said it's difficult in school, and it's the same problem I had when you're talking about slavery and reading certain books with certain that reflect certain times and periods, and use certain names, and it's very uncomfortable in class, and it's difficult for him to get his friends who are very close to him. He has good friends on every end spectrum, but they don't understand how awkward it is and how difficult it is to sit in class and how it makes him feel. I think we have all different types of differences in race and religion, and all different kind of sexual orientation, all these different things. But I think the toughest thing for us to reconcile is people's thinking. And when we begin to affect people's thinking, we can change the heart, and I believe that's when we're really going to change this city in a positive way.